It was way the locked in the route.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe we aren't getting that Olaf because Zeri taken here, but I think the interesting thing, just while we try and see where this is going to go.
Oh,
okay,
so
he's going to delete
disappointing.
the Lissandra banned away by OMG, I think is a good shout. I think Xiaohu has been very good at setting up these engages for RNG, and the fact that he won't have that tool here has actually kind of put them on a bit of a back foot. Now, we still look at the Gallios and these kind of stuff, but with the Ahri locked in, we'll have to see if Xiaohu can kind of provide those engages with the charms that we kind of come to expect from RNG since they've returned from MSI.
Yeah, so we've got the charm, we've got Ming on the Nautilus as well. Plenty of ways to start a fight. Not so much for the side of OMG, as you can have that Braum as support, so they might have to find some hard engage elsewhere within this composition. Vi being banned away. It's a jungler we've seen used specifically to counter Ezreal in the bottom side, but I guess the logic still applies to Zeri, right? The same logic of, well, they can E away. Well, yeah. Vi can follow them, so taking that one off the board by OMG.
Yeah, also, a lot of point-and-click CC works out pretty well against the Zeri. You've already got the Nautilus. If Vi can follow up and then you got backline dive with the Ahri, it's going to make things very difficult for Abel, even with Cold there on the Braum. But we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is going to be, because Diego, Vi, you're starting to kind of drift down through Wei's champion pool. The Rek'Sai going to be taken off the board as well. Maybe we honestly see Wei go back towards something like the Volibear or something along these lines, the Xin Zhao, but I know Wei's Volibear hasn't been the best in the past. So may leave that one off the table for a while.
Yeah, the Rek'Sai being banned away. I'm a little surprised. Yeah, we'll see if the Volibear comes through. But now over to the side of OMG. Solo laners galore here. You'd anticipate probably a mid lane since you already know what you're up against.
Yeah, okay, so just going to respond with one of the old school counters that we've seen with the Vex. But honestly, I think you could actually go... Oh, sorry, Silas is banned away from Creme, but... yeah, I think you could still take some sort of like melee mid if you wanted to, but with the Silas and that Akali gone, Creme is just going to go for the late game with the poke, with the Zeri and the Corki combo. This is something we're starting to see rise up more and more in the LPL, just because of how obnoxious it gets in the later portion of the game.
Yeah, it certainly does. Creme opting to that kind of poke mage, as you say. Not really his style, though. We're used to seeing Creme on those assassins. Has struggled sometimes when not just playing for pure aggression. It's going to be Breathe going with the Gnar, very standard up in that top side. It's something that Bin played a ton over when he was on RNG as well. And we'll see what the final lock-in is going to be. The jungler being the 5th pick. This is not something we see often in the LPL, but it's going to be Wei's Nocturne.
Which I think is a really interesting one, because you definitely want something that can provide long-range engage, which this Nocturne can help with, especially against the poke from the Zeri and the Corki, but you are going to be somewhat isolated, it feels like, in that backline when you go in. And it also means that you've now got a Jinx who, with a lot of OMG members that can kind of jump around, find flank opportunities, this Jinx could end up isolated. So RNG are going to have to play these fights very smartly, like make sure that they're setting up on objectives early so they can get that full vision control down, make sure they are actually fighting front to back, and like Zeri isn't hopping in over a wall to assassinate Gala, Aki isn't coming up from crazy angles to cause issues for this Jinx. You have to be like pretty careful about your backline here for RNG.
Yeah, you definitely will be. Like, a lot of dive potential. And we said they needed engage, right? Shanji certainly answering that one. Might have a tough time against the Gnar during the laning phase, but if he can survive that laning phase, make it to the mid game, that's when the Sejuani will really start to pay dividends. Well, that mid game is really going to be the crucial point. As we said before, it's where RNG come alive, and it's where OMG have shown that they can make quite a few mistakes. So let's wait and see. As OMG in their big complex. I don't know if anyone at home has seen the OMG complex on Twitter and on if just Google it. Like, it's absolutely insane. It's like so insanely futuristic. Same with the EDG one as well, honestly. I think it's the EDG one that looks like a spaceship, basically. But some of these facilities that the players play in are just mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But we'll have to see in the battle of the facilities who's going to come out on top, because RNG's is looking pretty swanky as well.
True.
But yeah, I think the biggest one coming into this game is kind of looking towards the Lee Sin. How much can this Lee Sin get done in the early stages? Because I feel like when you're looking at the draft at the moment, your bot side, you do have a Zeri, which you can definitely try and play around, but the Braum paired with it makes that a little bit more difficult. you have a Corki in the mid lane, not really going to do particularly much. And even on your top side, it's Sejuani, right? So for Aki, I'm kind of curious as to what he wants to try and do in these early stages of the game. Like, maybe it is just a case of trying to prevent this Gnar from becoming a split push threat in the top side. But I feel like trying to play her in the spot lane to a certain extent is kind of what you need to do, because it's your only big bridge to that late game. Because as you said, like already, Munch, top lane, not a good matchup. Mid lane, not going to be able to do particularly much in the early stages. You need someone who can get OMG to that late point.
Yeah, that's going to be the challenge, is bridging the gap towards the later stages. Cool start here for Abel down in the bottom side. He's obviously anticipating a fairly quiet laning phase. We could have a fairly quiet start to the game in general, honestly. But once we start to hit those level 6s, especially for RNG, like Nocturne and Ahri both hitting level 6, you know they're going to start making plays.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of keeping my eyes on, is like if RNG can actually start to make these early plays and prevent OMG from hitting that late point, because you have a ton of tools to try and make that happen. I mean, realistically, against the Braum and a Zeri, Gala should be relatively okay on the spot side if Ming wants to try and look for some early roams. Xiaohu and Wei, ton of roam potential as well towards either bot or top side, especially if Abel is trying to make some sort of plays happen on the, or trying to push in this wave on bot side. So, like, you have so many opportunities for RNG to get this early game in your favor.
Certainly do. We'll see if they can find those opportunities and use them. Both junglers starting off with their blue into Gromp, pathing opposite directions though to starters. But again, as we said, not necessarily anticipating big skirmishes in the early game, so you'd anticipate they just trade scuttles, trade opposite sides of the map. Everything relatively quiet there. Which I would say, you know, could be a bad thing for OMG, honestly, because like historically what we've seen is they do a lot better when they find advantages early on in the game. I will say, Zeri and Braum, that could certainly be quite an aggressive combo. If you can stack that passive up quickly, you can take someone down.
It's just about trying to find those moments where you can, though. I think the biggest thing is, like, this is not a 2v2 realistically on either side that you confidently come out on. Well, I mean, unless you have a level advantage as Ming goes in, but the thing is, you can kind of see what happens there, where the concussive blows come out from Cole as soon as Ming engages. You get the Unbreakable to come up and dodge a whole bunch of the damage that Gala wants to churn out onto Abel, so you end up being able to turn that around. So you take it very, very slow and calculated in the spot side here from RNG, and it feels like you're not going to do a huge amount until you get that third member from either side to try and break the stalemate.
Yeah, and you know, I'm just thinking about these two teams, like, historically, as organizations, when you think back far enough, these guys were both at the very top of the table. Like, OMG used to be one of the teams, like, when you think of the team that had, like, Going and Cool and that lot on, like, they were one of the teams that was making it to internationals every single time. They were one of the teams that always represented the region. Feels like a long and distant memory for the side of OMG. And that was starting to become a similar story for RNG until fairly recently, where they've been able to find success once again since last year when Xiaohu went up to the top side. Now this year, doing well in the mid lane once again. Feels like RNG got back on that horse and are looking to bring that horse down to the bottom side. Abel and Cold in big trouble here, but looks like the dive not going to actually happen in the end.
No, nearly able to get the plate, but not quite. Oh, okay. Cole going in aggressive there, but I thought I heard a flash, but it must just be hearing things.
I think it's the Jinx rockets on that skin sound a bit cosmic-y.
Bit wonky.
I don't know how else to word that.
But yeah, I mean, look, at least you get a little bit of pressure towards the bot side. Look at the CS advantage for Gala as well. This is kind of what you can do here as RNG, where you can start to get some decent push into the spot side to get the quicker reset, and just looking to get Gala to a point where he's happy. I think that's why I'm kind of looking at Aki to see, hey, can you try and break this bot side open in your favor? Because when you get to 2-3 items here for OMG, you're in a great spot. I mean, Abel's going to be able to turn out so much damage from afar with the zap through the walls. You've got Creme as well. He's going to be able to poke with the rockets. And then it becomes a case of RNG have to find these quick engages for fear of getting poked out. And when you're kind of under that pressure, that's where mistakes can start to creep in.
It's certainly the opportunity to punish those mistakes as well for the opposing team. Like, we'll see if they'll find those windows. It's a fairly quiet one, Dagda. Fairly quiet one, especially compared to game number 1 of the first series today, right? Where we just saw right off the bat BLG went super aggro. But RNG not a team that's known for being incredibly aggressive in the early game. We are getting towards that level 6 mark, though, where we expect Wei and Xiaohu to be the ones leading the charge. But Wei, actually just going to move over towards the Drake. Aki is in the neighborhood. There's a ward on this Drake. I'm curious if OMG are willing to contest, or at least willing to go for a steal. Aki could do this stealthily, ward hop, and try and go for the steal himself. Let's see. Wei getting fairly low as well. This might just be a kill as they move on in. There's the Sonic Wave. They found Wei. They found the dragon. It's beautiful from Aki and Cole. Oh, now a hook, though. The rest of the team moving on in. Aki jumps out to safety. Cold will be sacrificed. RNG, they get a consolation prize, a kill for Xiaohu. But 1-for-1 and OMG got the Drake.
I mean, just nice word from Aki to spot that out, making sure that he was able to find the play. And as you say, having Code link up with him, the two-man combo picks off the Nocturne. Just really, really patient play here. And I think this was like smart from Wei, realistically, right? You push in bot, push in mid. You assume you're not going to get any sort of problems here, but just being able to spot this one out, Aki, knowing what RNG are like with those early neutrals, means that he can get the kill, but it's just unfortunate. Cold, actually charmed right as he went for the jump over the wall, so he wasn't able to escape out with his cohort.
Nicely done by Xiaohu, and you know, we mentioned that level 6 mark. Luckily for Xiaohu, hitting that level 6 mark as the play kicked off. Had he not had the Spirit Rush, I'm not sure that they get an answer there, so well played by Xiaohu, perhaps a little lucky. And it will be a minor gold lead for RNG. I'm not entirely sure how, honestly. Just the CS difference in the bottom lane, I suppose, with a minor CS lead up top as well, yeah. So, good stuff so far from RNG, at least answering, but really nice for OMG to be able to get that Drake.
Yeah, and again, you'll get like a little bit of gold in RNG's favor from the bot terror fight that's already been lost as well. I feel like the RNG are just going to try and continue to play around that potential here. So you can see already Ming sitting in the mid lane. He is actually looking to move over towards Rift Herald, but you should have Gala being able to get this wave slow pushed in onto the bot side. As you can see, that one's just stacking up, but he's actually just going to push this in and then potentially look to carry on and move up towards this top side of the map. But honestly, I think if RNG can just make a play with Xiaohu and Wei both having that level 6, well, then they don't really need to worry about bringing Gala into the equation as well.
Few little popcorn chickens taking the head by Xiaohu. Nicely done. Just stealing a bit away from the enemy. It's always good to get those incremental advantages. But as you say, Herald started here by RNG. Xiaohu fighting for priority in the mid lane. And Ming has moved over. Like you said, that was the reason he was in the mid lane in the first place. Gala's moved up. Nicely done by RNG. Abel going to be on the bottom side. Knows he can at least crash this wave. Maybe can go for a plate himself. But I don't think he'll be able to get too much, honestly. You can see Gala's already moving back over.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Creme was going to follow the whole way down into that bot side play. Maybe look for a dive, but I mean, Gala will be here to just clear out the wave, so he's going to be totally fine. At least those plates going towards Abel will help to equal out some of that early advantage Gala had gotten. Because you still have that call for Abel, so he will always kind of have that little bit of a buffer when it comes to the gold, even if you do have an advantage for Gala when it comes to sheer CS numbers.
Xiaohu over the wall here. Wants to try and make something happen. He's going to look for Creme. Knows that the blue buff is up. Here comes Wei into the mix as well. Ignite as the double flash from RNG. We said they'd use their ults. I didn't expect it to be that explosive.
Wei follows the Corki over the wall, kills Corki, and midway through killing Creme, smites the blue buff. Just takes it away from Aki, straight from underneath his nose. It's clean, it's daylight robbery, and RNG now going to try and put the pressure in the mid lane as well, but the charge will happen. And I don't think he can get much more from this OMG, although maybe looking for a kick, but RNG are already out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nicely done by Wei. Bit of revenge for the Drake as well, but now moves in to grab that Scuttle Crab. Shanji trying to collapse as well. Remember, the Sejuani could certainly start a fight, but won't be able to find an opportunity. OMG losing out on this one as Abel slides his way back towards the lane, but it's 1,000 gold lead now for RNG.
Yeah, and I think this is where, again, you're going to see RNG continue to put this pressure forward. We talked about OMG, how they're not particularly strong in the mid game. Where they've been able to find a lot of their successes is playing these compositions that have Creme able to interact on the map nice and early, work alongside Aki in a favorable jungle matchup, and play towards able getting a lead. But when you look at the way this composition operates, that's not really what OMG have here. They're the ones that need to try and play it slow, play for that mid game so then they can get to the late game, and RNG just punishing as a result.
Yeah, RNG doing a really good job to find these windows and to punish them, as you say. That's a Corki package picked up, though. So Creme, perhaps with a window to make a play of his own. We talked about the level 6 spike for Wei and Xiaohu. Well, this is Aki and Creme's alternative with the package. If they can link up, make it into one of these side lanes, and try and force something.
Especially with the dragon, that becomes a more valuable point here. Creme, I'm a little bit nervous about Creme finding with a package here, just because it feels like you've got a really good front to back. Even the inability for Shanji to be here means you don't really have a big tank on OMG side right now.
Well, they found the Drake, and maybe we'll look for more as well. It's 4v4, though, and I think maybe just OMG backing away. Xiaohu might look for a charm, but everybody zips. Let's get the package used just to get back to mid lane and clear that wave. So, OMG agree with you, Dagda. They did not actually want the fight, just using it to threaten and to grab the dragon for themselves. So that's 2 dragons back to back, though.
I mean, nicely done by OMG to start stacking these. But again, I think RNG are kind of playing what we look at as like what have kind of become the bog standard at MSI, which is like playing for Rift Heralds instead, where you try and snowball these early leads into tower plays, into map control, so then it doesn't really matter if OMG have these early leads, because they won't get to actually use the dragon late game because they don't have control over the map. That's when RNG can start to stack up dragons themselves, and I think it's a right call for RNG, because if this game goes super late, they just don't end up winning out. Like, realistically, you've just got too much damage on OMG's side. Great tanks in Shanji and Code eventually been able to reach that tanky point as well. So I think playing more towards a, hey, we want to make this a fast game is what RNG need. Whereas for OMG, I mean, their late game insurance is going to be these dragons.
Yeah, absolutely. As well as that Corki, I would say. Yeah. He's certainly late game insurance for them. Shanji getting a good trade on to breathe here. Nice bit of damage done. I would say Xiaohu, like, overextended to try and finish off the 4th plate a minute ago. Took 3 tower shots for it, and then left it on like 1 HP. Couldn't take another tower shot, so he had to back away. And ever since Creme has been playing a little more aggressively in that mid lane, moving forward to make sure that the wave doesn't ever get quite under that tower.
I mean, at least at the moment, OMG are doing a pretty good job of like keeping this somewhat even, right? Like, we have seen some plays from RNG, but it's not like it's completely broken open this game to a point of like absolutely no recovery for OMG. Even when you look at their vision control, it's very defensive at the moment and trying to deny RNG entrance into their side to get wards to try and make these plays.
In trouble here. Hops dodges away from the knock-up, but he's going the wrong direction right now. Wei might be able to make his way up to the top side, or not, as the Gnar's already gone. And Wei's like, you know what? Maybe I won't go in on this play.
Yeah, they were considering it, but I think with the way that Breathe flashed upwards, it meant that you couldn't actually get Wei in as quickly as he would have liked. And also just the sheer damage that had come out from the Lee Sin as well meant that he wasn't able to. So with Wei now having no ultimate, it kind of frees up OMG, not only just to get less pressure on that top side coming through from the Gnar, but also just less pressure from Wei for the next few minutes. So nice job there from OMG to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone off the game.
Oh, a rocket as well to deny the reset from Abel. And that'll be another wave crash on the bottom side. Breathe, not so lucky on the recall denial. Shanji does have TP. Might just return to that top side. I'm curious if now we'll be on that 14-minute mark, whether we get kind of a rearrange in terms of where our players are on the map, which laners are where. Gala's going to be able to finish this bot lane tower. That'll be a nice little influx of gold for RNG. And we'll see what happens now in terms of the rest of these tier 1 towers, because that was the first tower of the game. It's quite late on.
Yeah, but I think we are going to see that rearrange now come through that you're talking about from RNG, because with that first tower going down, you rotate Gala up towards top side, you push in top wave, you can threaten the tier 1, but you're also trying to move Gala into position for the Rift Herald that might just be started up here by Aki, as RNG are still trying to move into position after getting that bot tower.
Yeah, they did start it up, but immediately back it away again as well. A TP comes through from Creme. OMG don't want to let this one go without a fight. We might get a 5v5 for ourselves here. Dagda. Ming flashes away to safety, to Glacial Fissure to knock everybody up, but now pulled back in and flashes the knock up to the rest of his team. Cold, bit of a disaster, but Ahri manages to answer it. The Gordrick has kept himself safe, but falls in the end. Breathe now, chasing down as Shanji falls. Abel on the backline, laser over everyone, getting the shots, getting the stacks. Can he clean up? RNG with 4 members strong, but the carries of OMG. Oh my days, Creme just about survives.
RNG are battered and bruised, but they will get the objective and they will take the fight. 30 seconds though until this dragon, so RNG gonna try and do a quick reset and see if they'll be out in time to fight that. And they should be with just the timers that are on Ahri and Shanji, but oh boy, that was a lot closer than we expected. But again, this coordination and team fights that RNG have become famous for is the difference maker here. Ming waits perfectly until he's able to ult onto the Corki, and as you do that, Wei goes straight in over the wall with that ultimate. Gala's in a great spot here to just continue churning out the damage with a great front line in his position, and then eventually OMG with Abel starting to rack up that damage, and Abel playing incredibly well, I gotta say, on this Zeri, but unfortunately just not enough to hold the fight.
Bit too early in the game for a Zeri to be able to 1v4, but trust me, that'll come later.
Oh,
Ahri gets hooked by Ming, trying to deny the dragon going down. It's low and it's taken. RNG grabbed themselves their first Drake of the game. It's a kick across the team. It's 1 kill though for Shanji. Make it 2. Double comes in. Breathe gets a stun, but in comes Creme to answer as well. Abel with another, and RNG have bbe found out. Knock up on Xiaohu. Spirit Rush trying to keep himself safe, but Ahri goes wide on the queue. That's going to be 3 kills for the side of OMG as they look for more mid.
I mean, nice job from OMG to get that engage. And now they should be able to push in, but the wave instantly gone thanks to Xiaohu and Wei. So going to be tough for them to actually get this mid lane turret, but with the next wave here, I don't know if Xiaohu can solo defend.
Yeah, needs to back away on this one as Abel will be able to get the damage down. You see Shanji as well clearing up the wave of the bottom side to make sure that they're not losing too much elsewhere. Nicely done by OMG to find themselves an opportunity. Now actually ahead and goal.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of that gold, though, is going to be on Shanji thanks to the double kill he picks up here. So Ming going that bit too far forward, but it means that the dragon just kind of sits there for a while. Ming goes low, and this engage from Ahri is beautiful. Gets great damage coming through the Gore Drinker, the lockup, Shanji as well being able to land that ult into the mix. And again, having the permafrost hit right before Breathe gets that Gnar means that you can't have any sort of follow-up from Xiaohu in the fight. Already Wei's running for the hills as well. So OMG getting that slight gold lead, as you said, for themselves, Muncahbles.
And that's so crucial, right? Because we talked about how, like, OMG's team fighting actually pretty good if they can get towards those team fights. And, you know, in spring, it felt like this team got a bit overhyped and they couldn't match up when it went to beating the better teams. Well, RNG is one of the best in the entire league, and OMG finding themselves a fight there is crucial. Now, even in gold, as we approach, or as we get towards the 20-minute mark here, but RNG still no slouch, and still with that Rift Herald could find themselves some control.
No real control over River though, and that's why Shanji has been able to slip by over into this play, and making sure that he's going to be here for the 4-man stack as Creme will continue to push in top. So at least at the moment, OMG just looking to trade, but RNG are looking for the tier 2.
They certainly are. It's a tower taken on the side lane for Creme. He does have TP available. I don't think this Herald gets a charge off here. Yeah, kind of a weird Herald, honestly, from RNG. Maybe using it just to try and force OMG away from the tier 1. But either way, OMG able to answer that one. It's a tier 1 for a tier 1. I think OMG are happy with that trade.
Yeah, I think the play there for RNG was like, oh, we'll be able to get the Rift Herald to charge onto the second tower before the minion waves dies. But a little bit of a funky play there with the Rift Herald in that because they killed the tower too quick, the Rift Herald actually didn't charge to get faster up the lane. So it meant that OMG could deal with the minions and then had their cooldowns come in as well to then deal with the Rift Herald in tow. So you never get that second charge. So a bit unfortunate there for RNG. But OMG now, I like what we're starting to see from them. Like, good vision control in River, great defensive vision setup. You can see the amount of pinks that are littered on the bottom side. You've got one at the back of their own red buff as well. Like, this is where you can actually prevent a lot of that map movement from RNG. As long as you can do that, like, again, you're already 2 items on your Zeri. An Infinity Edge will make her insanely strong. Corki as well is starting to get to a point where he's happy. Like, this is actually getting to a really good spot here for OMG, and RNG just haven't been able to pick up the pace just yet.
And, you know, we were talking about this in the pre-game, how on paper, RNG are a heavy favorite coming into this series, but OMG have looked good recently. And I feel like they're continuing to prove that this is a team that has big potential. This is a team that can look really good. It's just whether or not they could convert that into some of the better teams. It's looking good so far in this series. We'll see if they can keep it up, though. A minute until that next Drake comes up, Dagda. I feel like we need to see a bit of setup now coming out for either team. Right now, it's vision control in favor of OMG.
I like that they're keeping the defensive vision here, but as you say, like Ahri now starting to move forward, you need to actually get some more vision control in this river. Having the Scuttle Crab is going to be so good for them, though, just in the ability to try and outmaneuver some of RNG, and being able to kite back from Wei engaging, maybe from Ming engaging. Also, just having the ability for Shanji with this Ghost to get up close and personal. Creme now looking for the reset, though. Going to need to try and TP into this fight, but will be able to pick, the package on his way out in just a few moments' time.
We'll see RNG grouping up, though. Remember, RNG can definitely play for picks as well. If you step too far forward against a Nautilus and an Ahri with a Nocturne that can Superman in from the other side of the map, like, you're going to go down. There's no way you're surviving that play. So OMG have to be really careful trying to muscle their way in.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is that because Creme was waiting for the package to come up so we can TP in, it's given RNG full control over River, which does make this a little bit tougher. TP into the middle of things, though, from Breathe.
Yeah, Ahri wants to go for the smite. Jumps into the rush. Can't quite find it, though. In the meantime, Breathe has gone down, and OMG, they're just going to go for a fight again. This is gorgeous from OMG. Shanji with another great ult. Double as Shanji and Abel both grab one for themselves, and Abel wants a bit more. Creme package into the play. Xiaohu under the tower, though. The laser won't find anything.
Yeah, I mean, nice call to back off of that chase onto Xiaohu, because he got the Baron. I mean, you don't get the steal from Ahri, but he got the amazing kick that kills RNG, and now OMG, like, they're firmly in the driver's seat. This is it.
I'm loving what I'm seeing here from OMG. 3,000 gold lead. They will grab this Baron for themselves as well. Very nice stuff, and I want to take another look at that. I was so focused on Ahri trying to get the steal. I didn't even see Breathe die.
Yeah, so Breathe TP's in, and instantly Shanji knock up, Concussive blows, permafrost stacks. Breathe doesn't get to move before he's gone. But watch Ahri here. This kick onto Gala knocks up Ming, kills the AD carry, and that's it. Like, it's game over in this fight for RNG, thanks to those plays. So really nicely done by Ahri and also the team to lock up Breathe as he came in. But I gotta say, like, not the best spot for a TP from Breathe.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for Breathe here. Ming could be in trouble. Shanji has his ult if they want to commit. Gala has cleanse. They're just going to commit to Ming here. Bit of damage. Wei's ult going to be burned. And I think that was really the goal, perhaps, is Shanji not really willing to commit.
Yeah, I mean, it will now, because that ult is down, give OMG a little bit of control over side lanes, because you don't have to worry about the engage coming through from Wei if you're trying to match the side lane plays from RNG. But RNG are just winning because, hey, I mean, Xiaohu pushed sides, Breathe is able to push down bot, and this is kind of what we were talking a little bit about, is that, like, OMG in the mid game, even with the Baron buff, aren't really certain about how they're supposed to match up in their lane states, and it's why you're kind of seeing this slowdown where even with the win in the team fight, the win with taking the Baron, it's only a 500 gold lead they've managed to gain off this Baron buff so far.
Just take a second and look at Shanji's build right now. He is invincible. There's no universe where an Ahri is going to kill a Sejuani anyway, even with no MR. And then just look at the amount of armor Shanji has. Like, who on RNG even hurts Shanji? He's going to be so hard to deal with in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, 6-1, the benefits of having the amount of gold that he has means that he will be able to just continue to stack and rack it. He's now pushing in the mid lane. As OMG start to group up on the spot side, you got 2 more waves that they can try and work around here. And Shanji may be able to get the tier 2 as well in the mid lane.
Yeah, he's going to be completely uncontested in that mid lane. Should be able to get some solo time. And, you know, the Baroned up minions do a lot of damage to the tower. Not just the cannons, like the caster minions will do a lot if they're allowed to just hammer away. So Shanji being there with the Baron buff will certainly get a little bit of work done, but now answered by Wei in that mid lane. Try and buy space for the rest of his team, but Wave's not really synced up right now by OMG. So it means RNG can move mid, clear that one up, then move back down towards the bottom side. But I think OMG will still be able to find it.
Yeah, they still get the bot tier 1, or sorry, tier 2, which is nice. I don't know if they can try and maybe eke out this mid lane as well. Might be a bit greedy as RNG can just clear bot and then look to rotate mid. Wei has the engage. This might be a bit greedy.
They're just going to try and threaten a dive here. Go for the tower. Tower will go down. Ming turns gold and keep himself safe here. Wei into the middle of everybody. That was a bit deep. Wei, my goodness. Breathe jumps in. Oh, the gnaw from Breathe on everybody. Is it enough, though, is the question. And I don't think so is the answer. OMG still find the fight.
Again, RNG going that bit too deep. And this is what we talked about from the V5 series, where the mid game, where RNG usually thrives, is just looking a little shaky. Them going that bit too far, trying to bite off a bit more than they could chew. And I think Wei, a good example of it there, where he just goes far too deep, and nobody on RNG is able to follow up on this Nocturne. OMG get 2 towers to get the fight, and they're looking so good. We'll see it here. I mean, Gala getting good damage off, you're getting good poke down. Ming taken incredibly low, but instantly straight onto the back line. Like, even the target selection here from Wei going on towards the Braum is just really strange. And Breathe tries to make the play happen, but he's having a struggle in this game to get these big Gnars off, because you're looking at the concussive blow stacks from the Braum, the permafrost coming through from Shanji as well. Like, trying to actually move in these fights is so hard for Breathe.
Yeah, I have to say, just watching the replay there, I saw Wei go in, and Abel used Zeri like as he went in. And my brain then told me, oh, well, he was silenced by the Blitzcrank ult, so no wonder he died. He couldn't do anything. Blitzcrank isn't in this game. It's just dawned on me that those ults look incredibly similar. Well, as soon as we see a Zeri Blitz game, like, that is going to be a nightmare.
Zeri, Blitz, and a Silas. That's what you need on the opposite side.
Yeah,
just to make it as Tesla as possible. What's the Tesla orbs? That's the one. Just like making sure you got as much electricity floating about as possible. But I gotta say, I mean, it may have been a little shaky from OMG from what they were able to achieve at the start of that Baron push. But now, I mean, you're looking 8k gold lead, good position on the Baron as well, which is up in a minute's time. They've already got the tier 2s on bot and mid, which makes it a lot easier for them to threaten in towards this topside jungle and just keep control of the Baron area. So for RNG, you're looking for a miracle play here where Breathe gets that big Gnar. Maybe you get Xiaohu on a flank that can kill off Abel, or a main damage dealer like Creme. But apart from that, I don't really know how you're able to win these fights.
It's a tough one for the side of RNG. They've got to problem solve now. They've got to show us that they are that creative team, that team that has such great macro that we all know and love, that team that won MSI. They need to show it here today against OMG. And so far, 8,000 gold down. It's a tough one. It's a really tough situation to be in. And like you say, not winning out in these fights, not finding the picks that they need to. And it feels like it's going to be difficult for them to even play side lanes. Like, I'm not sure anyone can threaten Shanji in any significant way.
And it's even the ability to find picks is so hard. So you've already got the GA completed for Creme. I mean, Abel's going to have his cleanse up in just a matter of moments. No flash, which does help, but he's even got a stopwatch for himself as well. So trying to find picks isn't working. As you say, side lane isn't really there. OMG are just starting the Baron, so screw side lanes. They want to fight anyway.
You love to see it. OMG decisive on this one. 4,000, and it's going to be way over the wall, but Shanji just zones him away. Baron should be able to just be committed to. Wei going to use his ult, but Shanji, he's only invincible for a little while, but there goes Gala. See you later, buddy. Taken out by Creme. And OMG look for the rest of the fight as well. It's a 1-for-1 so far as Aki tries to find a kick, but the Spirit Rush keeps Xiaohu safe. There's another Gnar. Maybe RNG have actually found something for themselves here. Laser comes across. It's another kill for Creme as Cold survives. And now Breathe getting chased down. Aki trying to do some damage. Not the most coming out from this Lee Sin, but he's 1v3 for most of this fight. Oh my days, the laser damage on Xiaohu. He's cut down by the Gatling gun and the phosphorus bomb. And now Creme looking for more as well. Abel over the wall with a laser. Knocks one into GA. Takes down Breathe in a 2v1, and now they'll find one final kill to get themselves the ace.
Again, OMG are able to find the fight. They will turn over towards the Baron, and the beautiful news is that, well, I was going to say you don't even need Creme to help out on this Baron. He can continue pushing in top, but with Gala respawning, looks like OMG are just going to take the reset and look towards the Dragon in 2 minutes' time. I mean, RNG just cannot get a look in this game.
They certainly can't. That will be Baron for OMG. Very nicely done. And once again, OMG focusing on the fight instead of the objective.
And this is where Shanji going over the wall, I got a little bit nervous. I thought that they might have been able to burst in Shanji, but Creme decimating Gala on the backside of this fight means that there's just no damage profile here for RNG to actually win it out. As you say, like, already, Ahri cannot carry these fights no matter what she does with Shanji still there. And as well, you've already got the Creme just kind of picking people off right, left, and center. Aki's been able to survive for so long, even kicking away Xiaohu to keep Code alive. Like, OMG, once they start this chase, that's where their poke and their long range just becomes so much more devastating for RNG.
Yeah, I will say, not the cleanest fight for OMG. Quite a lot of, like, missed skill shots and things, but Abel cleans it up in the end to finish everything off. Very nicely done. And at the end of the day, doesn't matter how clean it is. All that matters is whether or not you get yourself that win. 18-6 on the board. 10,000 gold lead for OMG. And it's take two with the Baron. We saw that Shanji couldn't finish off the tower in the mid lane last time around. Well, this time, he doesn't need to. The rest of the squad moving to the mid lane, and he's going to be pushing in the bottom side. These waves nicely synced up, but it looks like OMG just going to try and pressure one lane at a time. Breed pushing in the top side, and OMG are going to take advantage of that fact.
Yeah, OMG are going to be able to crack up in the space, and what RNG are essentially saying is, hey, look, we've got defender's advantage. We can actually spend the gold that we're getting from the objective bounties that are here before this dragon comes up in 20 seconds time, but it means that their base is going to be left in absolute shambles, and it's a real gamble. It's like, hey, we are going to need this power right now, and hopefully that'll be enough to carry.
Hopefully, we'll see Breed try to finish this tower off desperately. He's not actually going to even tank it in the end. Managed to finish it off, managed to walk away. OMG, though, going to be on the Drake, and instantly will just burn through it. Way goes into the pit. Oh, it was so close, but it will not happen. The damage out from Abel
here we
is
go.
terrifying, and a rocket comes through. Look at the combo. The Zeri Corki is nightmarish as Gala does everything he can to dodge, but it's just not enough. 22-6 will be the final score as Creme TPs to the mid lane, and OMG get themselves game one.
A Breed will fall. I feel like, no, he maybe gets back to the fountain, but OMG, a confident game one from this team. Going for the late game comp and making it work.
They certainly did. Creme goes off the back. Breed will finally be finished off, but the Nexus falls. And I cannot believe I'm saying this, but OMG 1-0 over RNG right now, and in a confident manner. Like, this was a very impressive game coming out from OMG. And now, I have all kinds of questions going into game number 2. Like, I'm suddenly very impressed by OMG, and I'm suddenly very worried for RNG moving on in this series.
I agree. I mean, this was kind of OMG calling out RNG, going, look, we're going to go late game. What are you going to do about it? And RNG just didn't have an answer. We didn't actually get to see Xiaohu going for a particular amount of roams. Like the early skirmishes that we potentially could have seen at things like the Rift Tower weren't there. OMG took away the option to Dragon Stack from RNG, which I really liked, with some creative plays coming through from Aki in the early stages. So overall, OMG kind of going, hey, look, we know how RNG play. We're happy to take that slow, and we'll just go with the composition that scales better.
Yeah, it certainly worked for them. And like, Zeri Corki, my God. The damage they were doing in the late game, like that final dragon, and then the laser over the wall with a rocket to follow up, just everybody dies instantly. It's like, what am I witnessing? That is a comp that we are going to be seeing a lot of. I guarantee it. Like, it feels like that kind of Zoe Ezreal vibe, right? Where it's the double long range and just poke everyone down, just with insane damage instead.
Yeah, it feels like I don't know if anyone has seen the new Top Gun movie recently. But it's like you get the laser that guides the missiles coming through from the Corki beforehand, where you just get the laser coming through to line them all up, set up, you know, miracle number 1 happens with the laser coming through from Zeri, then miracle number 2 as the bomb finished off everyone on RNG side. So again, I think this is a super strong composition. We've seen it quite a bit starting to kind of come to fruition in the LPL, but it is a risky one because it does mean, look, Corki's kind of hands off in the mid lane, so it means you need to make sure that you're able to get to that later game point. But against a team like RNG here, who didn't really know how they could pick up the pace of the game in the early stages, or at least didn't pick up the pace of the game in the early stages, I think it's a good shout. We'll just have to see if we are going to get this Ahri first pick from Xiaohu again, if they're going to be able to match some of that pressure in the early stages, so OMG just don't run and repeat this again for game 2.
Yeah, I mean, RNG definitely need to go back to the drawing board, right? They've got to change something because this did not work out for them. And, you know, when you look at the picks, this feels like a very RNG comp. Like, all of these picks feel comfortable for RNG, but just not able to make it work, at least in the short term. We'll see what they change for game number 2. OMG, though, on the opposite side, like, conversely, I would say this is not the start that we've seen from OMG, right? Creme generally has not looked that comfortable on the majors when it comes to team fighting, when it comes to the mid game. But on the Corki, looking really good today. Abel, you know, he is his big Zeri player, but Shanji on a tank as well. Like, I'm very positively surprised by the performance from OMG.
I think they just had a great understanding of what they needed to achieve. And I think even the understanding of how they wanted to set up their vision control, like defensively, making sure that RNG couldn't like sneak past them to maybe make a dive top was really, really good. As you say, Shanji working out really well on this top side as well, making sure that Breathe couldn't get that big of an advantage. And even having a little bit of help from Aki as well to make sure that was the case. Like, just really strong stuff from OMG.
Yeah, really strong stuff. And like you say, playing the map extremely well. RNG, a lot to work on in their 8-minute break. Let's see if they've got what it takes to come back in this series.